Hello, happy new month,
Hey
December.
girl, happy December. First Friday is here.
I love this. I really like starting our months off like this right now. Like, I know we said we were going to do 6 months of this, but I love starting my month off with
I
like
do too. We
all of
need to
this.
spread the love. We need to reflect and project,
Oh
which
my
is the
God,
theme for today.
how appropriate.
So what are we doing, Ash? Let's tell the group.
Yeah. So today we're switching it up a little bit for this month. We're going to be talking about our year in review and really looking at like career reflections as well as projections for next year. Talking about SMART goals, how you can identify things that happened this year, didn't happen, how to set goals for next year, and a couple of other bonus pieces of advice towards the end. And there's no webinar of this today because I truly believe that when we're doing reflection, and this is something I do with my clients, like I want you to be present in the moment. I don't want you to be distracted by like, all the things on a webinar. So
And it's
we're just,
December. It's the end of
yeah.
the year. We're all tired.
Yeah.
And if you're in sales, you got enough to do. Like,
Yeah.
let's just keep this light. We want to give you kind of the power punch you need to finish strong and start 24 with a bang.
Yes. So what we're going to be talking, we have three main points that we're going to hit on today. One is, of course, reflections of 2023. The other is projections of 2024. We'll have a little bonus thing as far as like ways to showcase your expertise and challenge yourself in that sense as far as your new goals for 2024. And we'll have like a nice little resource to give to you to help like guide you through this process if you want to do it on your own too.
And this exercise is something Ash and I both have done and both teach our clients. It's a feel-good exercise. So this is not work. This is actually creating some goodness for your brain and your heart and your success moving forward.
Yeah. Do you want to kick us off as far as reflections?
Sure. So the first thing I just want to say about reflections is some of you have set goals, some of you maybe not. And there's no shame in that game. If you didn't set any goals, it's all good. It's okay. You're living in that body and that head of yours. If you didn't set it, don't beat yourself up. And hey, if you want to set goals for 24, we encourage that. But let's not like feel bad if we didn't do it. Now, if you did set goals and you didn't hit some of the goals, again, we're not going to beat ourselves up. Hopefully, you learn some lessons along the way. There's no such thing as failure. It's only learning. So if it didn't work, or if you didn't hit that goal that you were trying, is it still a goal you want? And why? Because I think people put goals out there for themselves, and sometimes the why gets lost in the shuffle. And you have to really kind of make sure that it really still resonates with what you want for your life. And as I always say, there is nothing set in stone. There's nothing set in stone in your LinkedIn profile. There's nothing set in stone with your career path. You architect the life you dream. Yes. And these goals are really to help you get on that path. So looking backwards, how'd you do? Did you do things that you're proud of? And oh my gosh, guys, if you're not writing these things down or keeping them someplace, you need them for your resume anyway. Hopefully you're putting them on LinkedIn, but you likely have accomplished a whole bunch of stuff. So let's remember that. Let's relish those moments and those things that you did, because those are things that you should be proud of. And as I always say, these are facts. These are not feelings.
Yes.
You can talk about these things. For all you people out there that say, I don't really like talking about myself. No, talk about yourself. Talk about the stuff you did. It's important. And it's important for people to know what you're capable of.
Yeah.
And you're likely going to be pretty darn impressed with the things you've done.
Yeah. And if you're like me, like, believe it or not, right? Like if you follow me on LinkedIn or social media, I talk a lot, right? I'm totally okay with sharing my opinion. I mean, look at us. We made another webinar. But I say all the time, like, I don't like talking about myself. So if you feel like icky of talking about yourself, whether it's a fact or not, think about it as you doing something to help another person. That's the way that I think about it, is what I have to say is going to help another person. So I'm going to say it. I don't care what it has to do with me. If it can help one person, then I'm just going to go ahead and say it.
Yeah.
If you flip your mindset and that helps you, right? If you're introverted like me, yes, believe it or not, I am an introvert, then stop rolling your eyes. We do one-on-one interaction. It's different.
You saw that. Oops.
Yeah, I did. But if you're introverted like I am, or you get like social anxiety like me, or right, like just find what makes you comfortable in order to do the things and talk about what's actually going to help people, right? Like your expertise, your knowledge is going to help another business grow, whether you are an entrepreneur or you're a full-time employee or you're a contractor. The things and the skills that you have is set to help someone else. So it's not you bragging on yourself, even though you should, in my opinion, because you have something special, but it's helping someone else to be better and to grow.
Well, and this is part of one of the exercises in the Sell Me Your Story workshop, and that's building your brag book. So in this piece, you want to look back on your year. What are the things you did? Did you sell a really big deal? Did you get promoted? Were you recognized for something? Were you on a podcast? Did you write an article? All of these things are really huge and they need to go in your brag book. And that brag book stays with you for life. So that helps you when you're interviewing. It helps you have a lot of clarity around the things you've accomplished. So even if you're not going to talk about it, keep it for yourself because you will need it when you do interview.
I agree with it. And just like a side note on that, even if, for example, there's nothing huge that you accomplished, so to speak, in your career this year, reflect on what you did in your personal life, in your personal like investments in self to either learn or grow or be better or focus on mental health or self-care so that you can bring a more fuller self into the business world and the work that you do. That is a huge accomplishment and it deserves to be like reflected on and written down and boasted upon. People need to hear more of that, of I invested in myself this year to be a better self in my personal and professional life. Absolutely, that's a win. Please write it down.
Well, and those are some powerful words. I mean, when you invest in yourself, this is kind of new vernacular for a lot of people. If you hire a coach, you are investing in yourself. If you hire someone to help you write a book or for your social media, or you are investing in you. And that is the most important investment you can make. There is no shame in that game. And that is something that you can talk about to say, I'm making myself better. It shows growth and it shows strategic thinking. Smart.
Yep. I love that. I'm like this 2023, like speaking of like reflections, one of my biggest things for 2023 that I set out to do, my goal for the year was to invest in myself. I had never done that before. In a sense of like, I went to 1 year of college and then I left because college wasn't for me. I wanted to make money. I wanted to learn new skills. I wanted to build my life and like help people immediately. So I didn't go to school. So I didn't invest in like that educational, like the traditional sense that a lot of us do. And so I have never had like courses or anything. Everything that I know is self-taught, self-experienced. And I was really craving that this year in investing in myself for the first time ever. I spent a lot of money in personal and professional development this year for like to learn how to do new skills, to learn how to speak differently, acquire new clients, understand what I want, go about my career differently. I spent a lot of money and I'm proud. Like not all of it worked out, but I learned so much on where I want to go. And there was even things that like I invested in with one mindset and I got something totally different out of it. That was a win for me that I never even thought about in the first place. I'm proud of myself for getting outside of my comfort zone and doing something personally for me that I've always been afraid to do. I've always been afraid to invest in myself. It's been so life-changing.
Just being your good friend and watching your progress and seeing what you've accomplished. It's so admirable and it's so impressive. And I've watched you grow and really learn from all the things you've invested in. So it is paying off in spades. It is such a joy to see. So that is an example of investing in yourself that has gone very well.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. And I'm like thinking right now, the first time we really spent time together was a year ago in December.
Right.
We met for like our first coffee chat almost a year ago. Oh, a lot has changed.
So
So
wait,
much has changed.
one more thing on this is probably future goals for everybody, but really thinking about, and maybe I'll hold it. I'll hold it when we go into the future goals. Remind me, I'll come back to it.
I'm like salivating over
Yeah, yeah. No,
what it is. Ugh. If anyone else is frustrated with her, I stand with you.
I get it. I just want to do it in order. I don't want to bounce around. I want to keep some structure. It's okay.
Oh, that's so funny. So, right, going into our like projected goals for 2024, there's multiple ways you can go. Like, there is no right way to go about something. There's advice that you can take, but ultimately, what needs to happen is that you need to do it for you.
Yeah.
The way that I like to think about setting my goals for the future is doing an exercise that I do every 6 to 12 months. And I basically write like a letter from my future self to my present self, like where I'm sitting in the moment. So it's 12 months from now. I'm at the end of December 2024. And I'm telling myself, like, these are the things that you accomplished this year.
And
you have, yeah, and congratulations to you. And it's a really valuable exercise for me because it helps me to genuinely envision what means the most to me, what type of career that I want, what type of people I want to be working with, how I want to feel when I go to work every day, right? Even if it's a remote situation or you own your own business or you have a side gig, how does your day go? What are you doing? What are the activities? How does your bank account look? Are you taking vacations and investing in yourself and really focused on your self-care? Like, what does all of that feel like? What are you proud of at that moment?
And I'd say take it even a step further. What are you wearing? Where are you?
Yeah. What are you wearing?
Paint
pajamas.
Seriously, paint a vision.
Yes.
Because if you can see it, you can be it. And you have to really architect, what do I look like a year from now? And what am I going to look back on and put my hands on my hips and go, gosh darn it, I did that. Because you're capable of so much. And when you write that letter to yourself, you're dreaming. And dreaming is so important. I think people that are in corporate jobs, you don't allow yourself that space.
Yeah.
Dreaming is very entrepreneur mindset. And people that are like constantly having to think differently and build and create. When you're in a corporate job, you don't have that much space to do that. You can get creative with your own role, but even looking back a year from where you are, like saying to yourself, yeah, I got promoted. I now have been guest on 3 podcasts, or I wrote an article about this topic that I'm so passionate about. These are achievable and they give you purpose. And anybody will tell you, when you work with purpose, your work is more meaningful. And if you are a leader, you got to be giving your teams that purpose. But I will tell you, when you have a purpose, when you have a guiding light, it makes everything more meaningful. And you have to give that to yourself.
I agree. Start with why. Like, if you haven't read the book by Simon Sinek, start with why. And it's so funny, like, we're having this conversation. It's just so timely.
Yeah.
Because I met with the women who are in my mastermind today. Like, one of the first things that we did was I told them, like, you have to buy this book, Start With Why. You're all building businesses that are heart-centered and that are like social mission driven. You need to read this book, Start With Why. It's one of the first books that I read when I started in sales and I started my career. And it changed the way that I thought about myself, that I thought about selling to people, that I thought about business. And it's really what created the projection of my brand career and wanting to help other women and people to build their businesses was what he says in his book. And I don't like reading, so I do Audible, but they have like great prints. But it's just so timely that you said that, because I just onboarded a new client today for my launch program. And I told her that because she's so heart-centered and mission focused. And she's like, I want to genuinely help people. I'm like, you need to get this book. And she's going from like her corporate career and she's planning her exit strategy to pivot. And you don't have to be an entrepreneur to be entrepreneurial minded, right? Your job is your business. It is your life. You're the entrepreneur of your life and how it goes about. your income, your planning doesn't just have to come from like an everyday 9 to 5 corporate job.
Nope.
It's a fantastic direction. But when you just switch your mentality a little bit and you look at things slightly differently, like the world just like opens up and your mind expands, and it's a beautiful thing.
So back to what I was going to say before, and this comes because it's been a year that we've been chatting. My challenge for our audience is to start to entertain networking calls or coffee chats with people that inspire you. And I would encourage you, if we're going to go easy goals, once a month. If you're going to go a little more than that, once a week. And I can't tell you, I mean, we're living proof of when you take the time to get to know people, sometimes magic happens. And sometimes you curate a community of people that share your mission, share your goal, want to lift you up, and keep you accountable. And I've been really lucky to find such a great network of humans that like to do that. And when I'm suffering imposter syndrome, which God knows everybody does, when I need a good kick in the keister, I can call them or text
them. Oh my gosh.
Send them a message and say, I'm feeling low. I'm not feeling my purpose today. Why am I doing this? Can't I just get a job instead? And it just takes them to be like, no. You're exactly where you need to be.
Yeah.
What's bothering you? Let me help you through it. And asking for help is really, really important. I don't care where you're working. It's so important. So building that network is just going to be vital. And sometimes you can build a collaboration and you build a business together, which, you know, we never thought we would be doing that when we first started talking, but we knew we wanted to do something together.
Yeah.
This is what's come of it. So
it's been, I love the coffee chats. Honestly, it's, you know, love it or hate it. There is a lot of good that comes from them when you do it strategically and you do it the right way, and you are going about it focused on creating genuine relationships, just like with this exercise of the future self, writing a letter to yourself. Like, it's not just rainbows and sunshine. It's actually like visualizing where you want to be and then setting SMART goals in order to get there. And if you're not familiar with SMART goals, again, it's like, that was one of the first things I learned in my sales career, was to create actionable goals that you could revisit, that are actually attainable, y'all. Not like some, I make $50,000 today and my goal is next year to make 150. Like, is it impossible? No. But is it like smart? Probably no also. But it's
and why? You know, why do you need that? And really defining, you know, what does that extra money get you? Is that giving you the ability to give back? Is that giving you financial freedom that you don't have to worry about other things? Like, why? And establishing that why, I think, is really important. I think people, you can focus on your heart and how you feel in a certain job, but just a job is just a job. So
it is
why you need the job and what you're going to do because of that job, that's kind of pretty important.
I actually really love that you said that. Because a lot that you and I talk about are just the changes in the job market, a lot of layoffs, and like there's quiet quitting, whatever you want, right? Like, you're quitting because you hate your job. Like, that's, it's not quiet quitting.
You're uninspired, you're disengaged, and you need to find a place where you feel autonomy and purpose and recognized. And
but being able to dial in the connection between, for example, like the money, because a lot of people are hurting for money right now. And it's a lot due to the economy or what's happened in the job market with layoffs. And I understand that. I understand that need to like survive, right? Like, I need a job to pay my bills. Totally get it. If that's you and you happen to get a job where you're like, okay, not 100% of this matches up with my ideal life, but it pays your bills and it's something that you can still grow in and see yourself in and help build that business in the short term, you're allowed to quit and find your ideal job, right? You don't have to think in the mindset of like, oh, I have to be here forever. For me, at least, like, I'm always open to work. Even as an entrepreneur, I am always open to work. Like, if you want to hire me to work for your company, to do your brand strategy or to like do new product strategy or whatever it is, like, I will absolutely be open to working with you if it aligns with my ideal life that I have set for myself and my goals and my whys and my values as far as who I want to help, and creating a really good plan to get there. And but setting those goals and like connecting, okay, am I making $150,000, but am I selling myself, like my soul, in order to do it? Or can I take something from this?
Well, you brought up a great point too, Ashton. I think for a lot of people, it's no longer just one job in their life anymore. Like, you have multifaceted things happening. You've got side hustles, you've got collaborations on the side. And I think it's so normalized now that you might not just have one source of income. If you do, fantastic. But if you are unfulfilled by that single source of income, find that other thing that complements that doesn't conflict, doesn't compete, but it charges your battery, because that will help you do better in your job. And
I love that.
I think that's important for people to remember, because it's easy to just be like, yeah, I got this job, it pays really well, it's okay.
Yeah.
You feel the balloon go,
Oh, been
there.
there.
Back up with something else.
Yeah. And even, right, if you do love your job, but it doesn't pay enough, and this leads into like our third point of like ways to showcase and challenge your expertise. Like, if you do actually love your job, but you're like, I am not making enough money, but I really like my job a lot, start a side hustle. Start other ways to showcase your expertise and monetize on it, or expand your reach in terms of like your visibility and your mission and what you care about and what your passions are. Starting a side hustle, a side gig, is one way to be able to showcase your expertise, where like, I genuinely don't believe that one job is going to let you do everything that you want to, just like you just mentioned, right? Like, most of us are what's called like a multi-potentialite, where we are multifaceted. You're not supposed to be a robot that is just like created to do one thing. You likely have multiple interests. And if you really enjoy like baking a cake, for example, but it's not in your everyday job, and people are constantly telling you like, oh my gosh, like, I will pay you for this cake, make it a side hustle and like make money off of doing something that you love to supplement what might be missing from your day job.
Yeah, I have so many friends that do that. I have a friend who's a therapist, and she got really good at making cookies, and she sells these cookies, and she's the cookie therapist now. So she has her cookie side hustle and her regular clients, and her cookie side hustle has become quite a thing. It's really impressive.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's so really amazing. Cool. And there's a lot of ways to showcase your expertise. So when you're like projecting what you want to accomplish in your career, and it doesn't have to be huge, right? Like, it's whatever it is for you. Don't look at the person next to you who's 10 steps ahead or 20 steps ahead, or anyone else, honestly. Look at what is right for you in the coming year as far as your goals, and figure out different creative ways to enjoy the process of getting there. Yeah. So if you've never been on podcast and you're like, I really want to do a podcast and I love talking about this, or you watch podcasts and you're like, these guests suck, I could totally do better.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, right. Like, I think I told you earlier, I'm putting on an event in January. It's my first event. The reason why I'm putting on this event to help expand my expertise and my reach is because I've been to really sucky events. I've been to like really horrible networking things where they like hand you drink tickets and they're like, here's booze, get drunk and like figure out how to meet other people. That's so uncomfortable for me. And I've hated so many of the experiences that I had going to events that weren't for me as a woman with the goals that I have, and I want alignment and right, like all of these things. And I was like, they all suck. I'm just going to do my own. You could totally do, maybe not an event, but like you could totally do something similar where you're like, I could totally talk about marketing better than this other podcast where I would rather just talk about it all day instead of being a guest.
It might not even be extending yourself to something you're super uncomfortable with. It could be joining a community. And sometimes when you join a community, and Lord knows we have lots of friends that have communities, and something that I'm entertaining now too, you find your people, you find ways to charge your battery through that. And sometimes that's enough. So we're not trying to put you in this position of making these crazy goals that you can't achieve. That's not that's self-defeatist. That's not going to work. But we want to challenge you. We want you to do something that's a little bit outside your comfort zone. Growth and comfort do not coexist. So you really need to push yourself. And I'm telling you, Ash and I are so comfortable being uncomfortable. We're uncomfortable all the time, but it's because
constant anxiety.
We're trying new things. We're building things. And have we made mistakes? Absolutely.
Very costly.
Have we made bad investments? Yep. Sure thing. Yes. Have we worked with the wrong people? Yep. Yes. Definitely. So it's going to happen. But if we just said it and we didn't learn anything from it, that would be pretty bad. So you got to learn from those failures, because there's no such thing. It's just a learning opportunity. So just push yourself a little. You can. And if
you don't know how to get started, y'all, like we have an entire course called Sell Me Your Story Workshop that literally teaches you how to articulate and communicate simply and confidently your value and your expertise to be able to reach your goals for next year or even beyond. Mm-hmm. You need to be in our workshop. I promise you, it's like one of the best things that you'll ever invest in.
Well, and we added to it because aside from it just being the workshop, we really felt that the value was working with us. So we've added coaching as part of the workshop now. So that's part of the package that you get. So we do want to work with you. We want to see you win. And Ash, tell them about the template and how they get it.
Yeah. So one of the reasons why, right, like we didn't want to do a webinar today was because we really wanted you to be present in the moment, but we don't want you to walk away with nothing. We want you to be able to like take action on the things that we're talking about. So we're making a template for you to be able to reflect on 2023, project SMART goals for 2024, and identify ways that you can challenge your expertise in getting you to those goals. And we'll give you a template for it. So if you want the template, like all you have to do is either DM us or comment right now, goals, and we'll send it to you. And that's it. Like nothing else needed.
Goals. Easy. Goals. It's good.
Well, do you know how like we can just the process of coming up with what word should we say? Just ridiculous.
Goals seems like a normal, good, like easy word. We had other words, but that was a good one. So put that in the comments. We'd love to get you the template and the letter to your future self. We'll put that in there too. But we hope this helps you kick off 2024 with the greatest intentions, the greatest focus, and make it your best year yet.
Oh my gosh. Can I just say that this has been like the best experience of getting out there and doing uncomfortable things with you, finding a partnership with you and ways to collaborate and just bounce ideas off of each other and become friends and like cheerleaders and truly support each other, and being able to give this like workshop and help people in their careers. Like we've reached a lot of people. Like the last count that I did, I think was like 870 people have invested in our resources. And I'm just so glad that we were able to do this and give back. And it's been really cool to reflect on what we've done since we've met. Like we did not go into a coffee chat thinking like, oh, let's partner together. It was an organic evolution, but I'm glad to be here.
If you know anything about us, we're not super similar with our backgrounds and our experiences, but they complement each other greatly. And, you know, when you meet your people and you meet the people that really kind of you know you want to put a force for good out there with, grab them, run with them, hold hands, figure something out. And that's what we did. So we hope that we're giving back to the masses. And it's been a total joy doing this with you. We're excited to do it. First Fridays next month. We said 6 months. We'll see. We hope you keep coming. And guys, please give us feedback. If there's anything that you really want to see, if there's topics that we haven't covered that you really would like us to cover, send it our way. We are pretty easy to work with, and we like to talk. So
we got a lot to say. I can go off on a tangent about that. But
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, join us next month, January, the first Friday in January. We'll be back for our January 1st Friday, which is New Year, New Career Vision, where we'll revisit these goals that we're setting right now, because you should do that to ensure that you're reaching your SMART goals.
Yes.
We cannot wait to see you in the new year. Enjoy your holidays. Happy New Year.
Cheers, everybody. Thanks for watching.